Good evening, everybody. It is truly a great honor to be here tonight, and I must say, as an entrepreneur myself, it is a huge inspiration to be amongst all you wonderful entrepreneurs who are so worthy of tonight's acknowledgements. The proven entrepreneurs of Gauteng, let us not forget Gauteng, makes a huge contribution to our global, to our macroeconomy. And I would also like to say thank you to sponsors, to BWA, to Bassi and the whole team, Clara, to Nedbank, Shirley. I am a Nedbank client, please. It's a great honor to be here. Thank you. Personally, and Namela, Pratt and Associates, we are certainly a great proponent of change. We're a great proponent of the empowerment of women, of entrepreneurship, and of great leadership. It is inspiring to meet you, to acknowledge you, and to be with all of you tonight. And if I think of entrepreneurship, I'm reminded of the publication by Clem Sunter, who published a book called The Casino Model. We're certainly in good company at Emperor's Palace, a good choice of venue. But as he said, it was really the entrepreneurs in this country who were playing at the casino who were going to be our employers and our major employers in our economy. You, the entrepreneurs, are certainly changing the landscape of economics in South Africa. I'd like all of you to acknowledge yourselves. So I'm going to ask the women in this room to raise your right hand. This isn't the rise of the Fourth Reich. If you'd like to, please just raise your right hand in front of you. Put it over your left shoulder, and as Bassi said, pat yourselves on the back. But equally importantly, I'd like to ask the men in this room, who are often our supporters, our partners and mentors, to raise your left hands in front of you, to put it over your right shoulder, and to pat yourselves on the back. The reason why we asked you to raise different hands is that part of my thesis tonight is that as women who succeed, we do it in partnership. So it's really about left and right hands. On a more serious note, the fact that women raise their right hands is because we think we're always right.
And often we are.
As we celebrate and toast to your success tonight, I'm reminded of the words of Lily Bollinger, who was interviewed and asked why she drinks champagne, and she replied as follows, and Bassi, this one's for you. I know how you like your bubbly. She said, I drink champagne when I'm happy, and also I drink it when I'm sad. Sometimes I drink it when I'm alone, but when I'm in the company of people, I consider it obligatory. I travel with it when I'm not hungry, and I drink it when I am. Otherwise, I do not touch it, unless I'm thirsty. Despite our successes to date, we do, all of us, as women in business, have a journey ahead of us, a road still to be travelled. And what have we learned about some of the challenges that we are facing as women entrepreneurs, women in business, and as Bassi alluded to, women on boards? As you know, the BWA and Nedbank for the last 5 years have been publishing the census, which has great value. It monitors our performance as an economy, as a country, as corporate South Africa, and looks at how many people, how many women are sitting at strategic executive level. And the numbers, as shown in the last census, shows that there is some improvement, but there are still many challenges to be had. We at Namela, Pratt and Associates conducted the first qualitative research in the country to look at women on boards, but to get behind the numbers, to understand what are the issues, what are the gaps, how can corporate South Africa address them, but most importantly, how can we as women face our challenges and stream ahead. What are our challenges as women entrepreneurs, as women in business, and as women on boards? I'd like to highlight just a couple of them this evening. I think the first, which we ascertained in our research, is that women often make the fatal error of trying to emulate men. We forget that we are uniquely different, we have unique characteristics, and we should really embrace that and celebrate that. By way of example, Ernst & Young did some research, not only in South Africa, but globally, and found that of all whistleblowers globally, 57% of them were women. Somehow, as women, we have this increasing propensity and moral and social conscience to raise issues of governance, to raise issues of ethics, and to bring them to the fore. I think the second challenge that women often have is linked to the first, and that is a lack of self-esteem, a belief in self, a knowingness that we are truly capable and competent in our own right, that we do add value, and that we don't have to prove ourselves per se. It is much more powerful to be confident than to do confidence. The third challenge goes back to the words of my friend and colleague, Dr. Renata Volpe, who many of you know. He says, the world of business is often designed by men for men with wives. How often so many of us women would love a wife to just take care of all those The world of business as defined by men is often termed rugby, and yet us women have this very naive way of getting onto the pitch and playing hockey. When we're there, we're often troubled and we ponder why we don't quite crack the game. And often we're shown off the field, and when we do, we feel totally misunderstood. So what are these qualities as women that we need to acquire in the world of business and the world of work? And again, in this regard, I certainly concur with Renata. There are many qualities, and as a headhunter, I often sit and listen to people who say, but why do I need these qualities? We're so different. We need political astuteness. They tell me I'm not a politician. We need strong negotiation skills. All of those who have done the entrepreneurial thing of negotiating out there know the relevance of that. Networking. So often we go home to tend to the kids and look after the family, while our male counterparts are out there doing their bit. We need to be strategic about our careers, and we need to be assertive and handle conflict management skills. In fact, driving here tonight, I saw a billboard up, driving down past Nedbank actually, where it said, women in South Africa are too posh to push, whatever that means. But it comes back to assertiveness without being passively aggressive and without being aggressive per se. And as I've already alluded to, we need personal mastery, personal belief, and to change our often prejudicial, limiting beliefs about ourselves and how we operate in this world. As women, we often believe that to break through the barriers, and those barriers are often self-imposed, that we need only women as role models. Sometimes we're so focused on looking at other women, and certainly women are inspiring because they've proven that the way and the road ahead is viable and possible. But I remind us as women not to forget our male counterparts who often are far better adept at teaching us the game of rugby than hockey. We also discovered in our research on women on boards that there is really a direct positive correlation between the road that people of colour in South Africa, and many of them successful men, have travelled before us. And there are many lessons we can learn from these people too. There is one in particular the world over who is loved, respected, admired and revered. And as we all know, and as is fighting on top billing probably right now as we speak, Bassi, a great man who is proudly South African and homegrown, Nelson Mandela. The question I have for us women as entrepreneurs, women in business, as leaders, as pioneers and innovators, is what can we learn from this world-acclaimed 90-year-old? It was Colin Powell who said, great leaders almost always are great simplifiers. They can cut through argument, debate and doubt to offer a solution that everybody can understand. And what is the result? It is a clarity of purpose, credible leadership and an integrity of organisation. Each of you entrepreneurs out here tonight are leaders in your own right. So what can we learn from our homegrown, proudly Madiba, who has been an icon and a role model for so many of us? Firstly, he is the People's President. I had the privilege recently of being in London at his birthday concert, 4664, and if I think of the power of Madiba, I'm reminded of Amy Winehouse, who many of you will know is very popular in the British public. She's certainly popular on our homegrown radio stations. She's so fantastic, but her big challenge is getting to a concert sober, without drugs, and often she's in rehab. And Nelson Mandela got Amy onto a stage, standing, coherent, singing with absolute beauty, not only one song, but two. Madiba, the People's President, I also had the recent privilege of being at his annual lecture a couple of weeks ago, where we were listening to the most inspiring President of Liberia, Ellen Johnson, who, by the way, for the record, is the first the first female president in Africa to be elected by a democratic government. A truly inspiring woman. But what came to mind was Madiba's opening ambit, where all these people were gathered, A, to acknowledge and recognize him, B, to listen to Ellen Johnson. And his opening ambit was, thank you all of you for being here. I know that you came along purely to see what a man at 90 looks like. In the celebration of Madiba, the world over supports the making of a great legacy. A legacy he was prepared to go to jail for, a legacy he was prepared to die for. And what else can we learn from this great leader we have in this country? He is a leader of courage, he is a social philanthropist, a global icon, a wave of inspiration, our very own beacon of hope. And my God, what a privilege it is to have that beacon of hope in 2008 in South Africa today. It is so easy for us to have this jaundiced, negative, cynical view of where things are at, to wallow in a sea of despair. When quite honestly, as entrepreneurs, and we reflect on South Africa and what lies ahead of us, as real entrepreneurs, we know we love home. And why? Things happen here rather than have happened. Each of us can and do make a difference. We can get out of bed each and every morning, and many of us do, knowing that the successful entrepreneur can do something to make South Africa a better place. As we reflect on a 90-year-old creation of a legacy of Nelson Mandela, I call on each of you to think about a few things. Firstly, to think about your male mentors. There are many of them, and they have much to teach us. Secondly, to learn from this great mentor, Madiba. Thirdly, to reflect on the doom and gloom that so often we South Africans get into, and certainly the doom and gloom of yesteryear, but to celebrate and to contribute. And I invite you to watch a DVD that I've recently had the privilege of being part of a team putting it together, which reflects on our years gone by, and at the same time I remind you to acknowledge, to absorb, to acclaim, to affirm, to celebrate, and to think about what contribution you would like to make to the creation of Mandela's legacy. By doing so, know that you too create your own legacy. How can each of us play it forward? What legacy do we want to create? And for those of you who are propelled to action, as most entrepreneurs are, Mandela Pratt and Associates have the privilege of being the pro bono sales and marketing director, fulfilling that role for the Nelson Mandela Foundation. If any of you are as motivated as we are, like Shirley's in, we lined up ready to talk to you to come into the official 90th birthday celebration book of Nelson Mandela. So I'd like you to watch this DVD, which certainly is a great reflection on one of our greatest leaders of all time.
It was one of the greatest struggles of our time, a time when thousands of innocent lives were taken through some of the most brutal measures known to man. It would take the bravery of many people to create a free and just system for all, and it would take thousands to bring down the system of apartheid. Even among all those brave people, all the heroes, all the victims, prisoners, and leaders, one man stood out because of his extraordinary generosity and wisdom in reaching out across all kinds of political and racial divides. Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela, Madiba. Born in Mvezo on the 18th of July in 1918, and 90 years later we cannot hear this name without recalling the amazing journey that is Madiba's life. From country boy to city lawyer, from resistance leader, political prisoner, peacemaker, president, and finally to tireless humanitarian. The man who served 27 years in prison because he dared to demand the right to be equal, to emerge free, not only of chains, but of anger and bitterness. How does one say thank you? How do we ensure that this legacy lives on? Because the example of Madiba's life must be carried on to all generations, so that they too can face the challenges in their lives with generosity of spirit, with integrity and courage. That has become the task of the Nelson Mandela Foundation, to promote Madiba's vision of justice and freedom. And today we celebrate with the publication of the official Nelson Mandela Foundation 90th birthday book. More than a book, it is a tribute to a truly remarkable man's life, to the spirit of humanity that shines through the darkest hours. This book will join together everyone who wants to say thank you to this great life and ensure that his vision lives on. To assure Madiba that through your support, the legacy lives on. What greater way is there to say thank you and happy birthday, Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela, for your extraordinary life and your gift to the world. Ukushiya ilifa lenqubeko. Be part of the legacy by contributing to the Nelson Mandela Foundation and place your birthday message acknowledging Madiba in this 90th birthday celebration edition.
Tonight is your night, it's your celebration. To all of you who've got this far, congratulations. I salute you, I acknowledge you. In the spirit of Lily Bollinger, I would like to toast to you, congratulations, I thank you.